And welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Rawat. Up ahead, all the news you need to start your day with. We'll get to the latest on the Congress crisis in Rajasthan. And is Ashok Gehlot now out of the Congress president race?
That's the big question that will be answered today, Gargi. But a very good morning. I'm Divya Wadhwa. Also, the Prime Minister is in Japan for Shinzo Abe's state funeral. We'll get you all the details. A look at the headlines first.
Violent protests in UP's Auraiya after the death of a 15-year-old scheduled caste boy after alleged assault with a rod by a teacher in his school.
Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has reportedly apologized for the MLAs' rebellion, however, claiming that he had no role whatsoever. While the Gandhis are reportedly upset, is he going to be out of the race for the president of the Congress party is the big question.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will join several global leaders today to attend the state funeral of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe.
Cloud burst in Hyderabad leads to massive waterlogging. 92 millimeters of rain recorded in a matter of just 1 hour in one particular area of Hyderabad.
A NASA spacecraft rammed an asteroid at blistering speed in an unprecedented dress rehearsal for the day a killer rock menaces Earth.
And President Vladimir Putin grants Russian citizenship to former US intelligence contractor Edward Snowden. He is accused of espionage in the United States.
Let's get you news from Uttar Pradesh. And violent protests broke out in Auraiya after the death of a 15-year-old scheduled caste boy after alleged assault with a rod by a teacher in his school. The police say Bhim Army is involved in these protests and protesters even damaged police vehicles.
Gargi, the 15-year-old class, this is the class 10 student died by 19 days after being allegedly beaten mercilessly by a school teacher who is from a so-called upper caste only because he spelled one particular word wrong, and that too in a class test.
Nikhit Dhore died on Saturday night when he was being taken to a specialized hospital in the state's Etawah district. Well, let's go across to Alok for more details on this. And Alok, angry protests over the death of this poor boy. But tell us more about what happened. And he died many days after this alleged assault.
Well, yes, but may I just start by clarifying that the police has said that the Bhim Army did organize the protest, but they are not the ones who indulged in this violence. The police are saying that these are miscreants who took advantage of the situation, and they are the ones who pelted stones at police vehicles and who also set police vehicles on fire. So that distinction the police is making, and it's important for us to also say that. Now coming to the incident, the alleged incident happened on the 7th of September in Auraiya, which is about 200 kilometers from Lucknow. And this was a private inter-college or school, you could call it school also. And this boy, Nikhit Dhore was his name. He was 15 years old. Now, the allegation in the FIR is that an upper caste teacher whose name is Ashwini Singh, he had taken a social sciences test, one of those class tests, and this boy had spelled something wrong or had given a wrong answer. And that allegedly infuriated this teacher so much that he beat up the child, he first slapped the child, kicked the child, and then in the FIR it also says that the child was assaulted with sticks and rods. The father of the boy who filed the FIR says that the boy fell unconscious, and when these people got to know the family, they rushed to the school. They admitted him to the hospital, and the FIR also says that the teacher initially paid for the treatment of this boy and gave about 40,000 rupees for the treatment, but the boy did not become better. And then this teacher allegedly stopped taking the family's calls, and then also when he was physically confronted by the family, he used casteist slurs and abuses against the father. That's what the FIR says. Now, the boy died on the 24th. He was being taken to a specialty hospital in the Etawah district, which is nearby, and he died on the way. The police say that they have registered an FIR and that they are looking for this teacher who is at the moment absconding, and the FIR also has sections of the SC Act. The violence, like the visuals that you see overnight, took place last night. The police in a statement have said that it took place after the body was handed over to the family. They say that he was being taken home, and then the Bhim Army started these protests where the body was placed in front of the school, on the road in front of the school, and a protest broke out there. And again, the police saying that some miscreants took advantage and indulged in stone pelting and violence. The police says that right now the situation is calm and normal, and that the last rites of the boy will be carried out as per the wishes of the family and also as per the existing rules.
Right. Thank you so much, Alok, for joining us with those details.
Well, let's now get you the latest on the Congress crisis in Rajasthan after the rebellion by Congress MLAs there in support of Ashok Gehlot. And now sources telling NDTV that Ashok Gehlot is virtually ruled out of the Congress president race. We're joined by Sunil Prabhu and Arvind for more on this story. Arvind, so you're hearing from sources that the Congress leadership is unhappy with Ashok Gehlot. They're saying that he's caused embarrassment to the party, that this entire episode, this rebellion, and he's virtually ruled out of the president race?
According to our sources in the Congress party, the Congress leadership is extremely unhappy with Ashok Gehlot for this rebellion that took place in Rajasthan 2 days back. In fact, the two observers, Mallikarjuna Kharge and Ajay Maken, who is the General Secretary in charge of Rajasthan, have already met Congress President Sonia Gandhi. They have already briefed her regarding the events in Rajasthan, and today both these observers will be submitting a written report to Congress President Sonia Gandhi. So what our sources are saying is that in the meeting between Congress leadership and Ashok Gehlot, according to sources, that Ashok Gehlot in fact agreed to resign as Chief Minister. He agreed to this condition that one man can hold only one post, and because he is filing nominations for the Congress President post, so he agreed to resign as the Chief Minister of Rajasthan. But after when the CLP meet was convened, in fact, observers have also told Sonia Gandhi, the Congress President, and also the observers have also made it public that they did get the consent of Ashok Gehlot before convening this CLP meeting. And in fact, the timing and also the venue of CLP meet was also confirmed with Ashok Gehlot. Only after his consent, this particular CLP meet was called at the residence of Ashok Gehlot. And according to our sources, hardly there were 22 to 25 MLAs were alone present for the CLP meeting. Only 22 to 25 MLAs came for the CLP meeting at the residence of Ashok Gehlot. And according to our sources, the observers also feel that this entire coordination of the rebellion was staged or coordinated by 3 ministers and loyalists of Ashok Gehlot, and that's why the Congress party is not taking the argument or the submission of Ashok Gehlot that he has nothing to do with this rebellion. They are not taking it at face value because this entire rebellion was coordinated by 3 ministers or the loyalists of Ashok Gehlot, and that's why it has urged the Congress leadership. One, because in the meeting with the Congress leadership, Ashok Gehlot agreed to resign as Chief Minister, but now he refusing to resign as Chief Minister is what's seen as open defiance, and that's what has urged the Congress leadership. So what we are being told is that the Congress party is also looking for other alternatives for the Congress President post, and names like Mallikarjuna Kharge and Digvijay Singh are being considered for the Congress top post.
Right, Arvind, and also yesterday the news was that Kamal Nath had met with Sonia Gandhi, but it seems that he has, has conveyed that he does not want to leave Madhya Pradesh.
Kamal Nath, we did ask this question because Kamal Nath met Sonia Gandhi at least twice yesterday alone. He met once in the earlier in the day, and then he also met her late in the evening also, where even Priyanka Gandhi was present in the late evening meeting. So we did ask whether Kamal Nath is also being considered for the top post, but what we are being told is that Kamal Nath is now focusing on Madhya Pradesh alone, because Madhya Pradesh will also be going for polls in 2023, and Kamal Nath is taking care of Madhya Pradesh. So it's unlikely that Kamal Nath will be leaving Madhya Pradesh, and as of this moment, Kamal Nath is trying to negotiate, trying to sort out the issues in Rajasthan. That's what he is focusing, but it's unlikely that Kamal Nath is being considered for the top post in Congress. What we are being told is that names like Mallikarjuna Kharge and Digvijay Singh are being considered for the top post, because the time is also, the party is also running against time, because 30th is the last day to file nomination. So we'll get a clear picture in a day, by today or by tomorrow.
Right, and Arvind, this has become a huge embarrassment for the Congress because now there's back and forth among the Congress leaders as well. They're those close to Gehlot who are hitting out at Ajay Maken and claiming that he came there with a purpose and he is someone who's close to Sachin Pilot. So a lot of allegations, back and forth and right here in the media.
Yeah, yesterday Shanti Dariwal, who's a staunch loyalist of Gehlot, who, according to the Congress sources, one of the top person who coordinated this entire rebellion, he came out openly attacking Ajay Maken, saying that it was Ajay Maken who conspired to remove Ashok Gehlot as Chief Minister. And he also said that he acted in a biased manner. He was seen as backing Sachin Pilot. That was the allegation against Ajay Maken. But the Congress party is saying that Ajay Maken was not the only observer that was sent to Rajasthan. In fact, Ajay Maken is the General Secretary in charge of Rajasthan. But as a senior observer, Mallikarjuna Kharge was also sent to Rajasthan. If at all, if any of these MLAs had any of the issue, they could have given their views to Mallikarjuna Kharge at least. But all these MLAs refusing to come for the CLP meeting is something that the Congress party has taken a very serious view. In fact, they are calling it as a gross indiscipline. We can also expect some kind of an action against some of these members who coordinated this entire rebellion. But the Congress party is saying that there were two observers who they were sent to Rajasthan, but the MLAs refusing to come for the one-to-one meeting with the observers is seen something as gross indiscipline.
All right. Thanks so much, Arvind, for joining us with those details. Well, let's just take a look at what Mr. Dhariwal said about Ajay Maken.
सेक्रेटरी जनरल इंचार्ज पे मेरा चार्ज है कि वो पक्षपातपूर्ण तरीके से यहाँ के विधायकों से बात कर रहे थे और उनको इन दिनों में कई दिनों से लगातार ये सूचनाएं आ रही थी कि वो सचिन पायलट साहब के पक्ष में जो है प्रचार करने के लिए जो है कहा करते थे.
And from Congress president to BJP president now, Divya, with JP Nadda, who took charge of the BJP from Amit Shah in 2020, likely to get an extension.
Right, Gargi, with less than 2 years to go for the next general election and a string of state elections before that, the extension is likely to last till the end of Lok Sabha elections due between April and May of next year, of 2024.
That's right. Nadda's 3-year term is scheduled to end on January 20, 2023. According to BJP leaders, Nadda enjoys the confidence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and that this decision was made possible in view of his good performance. Besides, the caste equations are also in favour of Nadda.
Nadda was made the party's working president in July of 2019 and took over as the full-time president on the 20th of January 2020. His election was unanimous, Gargi.
Mr. Nadda, who has been very active since he assumed charge of the BJP president. He has been travelling across the country. He has been gearing up for the party for the upcoming Lok Sabha elections, and in between there are elections in 10 or more states. So party is of course gearing up for all those elections, and the BJP does not want to take any chances. The organizational elections are not yet begun in the party. Remember, as for the party's constitution, at least 50% states should have completed the organizational elections to begin the process of election of the party president, and that has not begun. So this is one of the main reasons why Mr. Nadda is likely to get an extension. And apart from that, he is a close confidant of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Mr. Modi approves his performance. He believes that in the past 2 years, when during the COVID pandemic, Mr. Nadda was able to convert the BJP organization into a Seva Sangathan, and he distributed more than 50 crore food packets, and that's why he has won heart of Mr. Modi also. And third point, of course, is that he suits in the BJP's social engineering formula, because now you have a tribal women president, you have a Jat OBC vice president, you have OBC prime minister, and of course you have a Brahmin president as the BJP president. So that's why BJP feels that Mr. Nadda should be given an extension. It's just a matter of time before an official announcement is made.
All right, news of the weather now in Hyderabad. A sudden downpour yesterday evening in several parts of Hyderabad city flooded low-lying areas, causing traffic jams and taking commuters by surprise. And just look at those visuals, Divya.
Right, Gargi, and this is the fag end of the monsoon season. Before monsoon says the final goodbye, heavy showers lashed Telangana's Hyderabad. In fact, there was a cloudburst that led to severe inundation in several parts of the country, leading to traffic snarls and waterlogging. The Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation has jumped into action. However, the IMD has said that it's going to be raining heavily over the next 4 days. To get more details, we have Uma joining us. Uma, 92 millimeters of rainfall recorded in a matter of just 1 hour from one particular area in Hyderabad yesterday.
Yes, indeed. And that's one reason why there was a deluge in those areas. The low-lying areas, in fact, got flooded. And there is also lightning and thunderstorm activity, which was a little scary for people, commuters on the road. And in fact, two-wheelers all stopped under the flyovers to wait for that downpour to actually get over. Even though in areas like Secunderabad, we saw very, very light rain. What the authorities are now saying is that the IMD has said it's an yellow alert that they are issuing over the next 4 days, and for the next 48 hours in Hyderabad, in certain areas like Charminar, Falaknuma, Rajendra Nagar, LB Nagar, we are expecting moderate rains, whereas in the other parts of the city, there could be light rain, is what is the prediction. So, Yadadri Bongiri, which is a district near Hyderabad, that place, in fact, got the heaviest rain. Over 112 millimeters is what we are talking about. So what happened was that traffic came to a standstill, and places like Toli Chowki, which very often get flooded whenever there is a rain, and this kind of a deluge, sudden downpour is something that took everyone by surprise. So those areas, those videos, in fact, have gone viral. Even a video of a huge amount of water going into the Usmanganj reservoir, all that has gone viral. But as of now, clear skies, but overcast, yes.
Right, Uma, when you talk about moderate rainfall, that means over 15 millimeters to about 64 millimeters of rainfall in a matter of that very day. So like you're saying, that's the kind of rainfall we're expecting over the next 2 days. And even after that, heavy showers will continue in Telangana, especially in Hyderabad. Several areas, in the last 24 hours, let's just take into account which are the worst impacted and the worst affected areas. Especially last night, Nampalli, that's the area which received 92 millimeters of rainfall in a matter of just 1 hour, so 94.5 millimeters till late last night. Gun Foundry also 87.8 millimeters, and we have Mehndipatnam 85 millimeters. Other areas where the rainfall has been very heavy includes Sarorar Nagar as well as Rajendra Nagar, along with parts of Malakpat, where the rainfall has been over 60 millimeters. Thank you so much, Uma, for joining us. We will keep tracking the story. Heavy showers to follow in Hyderabad.
All right, look at those visuals of the heavy rain and flooding experience in Hyderabad. Well, with that, time for us to slip into a short break. More news coming up on the other side, and the Prime Minister is in Japan.
Right, to attend the funeral of Shinzo Abe. We'll get you all the details on the other side.
Welcome back. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Tokyo to attend the state funeral of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The Prime Minister will join several global leaders like US Vice President Kamala Harris to pay tribute to Abe.
Right, he's just landed in Tokyo for the funeral of Shinzo Abe. Representatives from over 100 countries, including more than 20 heads of state and governments, are expected to attend that funeral today, Gargi. The former Prime Minister reshaped Japan's foreign policy, including setting out a bold vision for a quantum leap in ties with India particularly.
And Shinzo Abe was assassinated on the 8th of July in Nara. Now, the Prime Minister also tweeted about arriving in Tokyo earlier on. There you can see he's holding a meeting. The Prime Minister posted photos of himself deplaning. He will be attending this bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. So the Prime Minister there arriving for Shinzo Abe's state funeral, which is also controversial. It's led to a lot of divisions and back and forth in Japan. Japan very divided over the holding of a state funeral because some cite that it's undemocratic. There have been very few state funerals ever in Japan. And
the first sort of event in 55 years. And what they're not really happy about is the fact that it's costing so much money, 11.5 1.4 million. That's US dollars. That it's
absolutely,
being,
and the
going to be
legal
spent.
basis of holding a state funeral. Who decides? Is it something the Japanese Prime Minister decided, etc. So it's led to a lot of criticism and divisions in Japan over the need for a state funeral for Shinzo Abe, who was one of the longest serving prime ministers of Japan.
Right, Kaki, who all will be there is the question. I mean, Joe Biden's not going to be there. Instead, Kamala Harris will be there. We also do know that the Australian Prime Minister
Let's go across to
there.
Maha now for more on this. And Maha, tell us more about the Prime Minister's program. He's there for the state funeral, which is also something that has emerged as very controversial in Japan.
Yes, it may have emerged as a controversy in Japan, but for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who shared a great camaraderie with Shinzo Abe, this was an important event which he was expected to attend ever since this idea was floated by the Japanese Prime Minister. It was, in fact, very much a given that Prime Minister Modi will be travelling for it. And, of course, the official announcement was though made much later. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also, when Shinzo Abe was assassinated, in his tweets, revealed the kind of close bonding and friendship that he had with Shinzo Abe. Now, even as there is a controversy over the cost of the funeral, state funeral, which is, however, this was announced by the Japanese Prime Minister quite in advance. The idea was put forward for several reasons, as was the argument of the government in Japan. First, not only was Shinzo Abe the longest-serving Prime Minister for Japan, but also the manner in which he was assassinated. Kishida had, in fact, initially on the day that the assassination took place, he had indicated that this is terrible for the democracy because they were in the midst of elections over there in Japan. And Shinzo Abe was, in fact, out campaigning for one of the candidates when he was assassinated. So he wanted to ensure that the message is sent out that democracy and electoral processes and the processes by which the country is governed will remain intact. So one of the messages that they are sending out through this is that Shinzo Abe was a tall leader for the Japanese who has, in fact, pushed forward the thought and the ideology of what Japan should be like, slightly, in fact, moving away from the very pacifist idea of Japan that you have to a slightly more aggressive idea of what Japan should be in view of the emerging threats to Japan. So we saw the whole idea of the Quad was revived after almost a decade in 2017, keeping in mind the Chinese threat in the Indo-Pacific. One of the proponents, one of the aggressive proponents, I would say, was Shinzo Abe. So there are several reasons in the current geopolitical dynamics that this funeral will play out as one of the major events for Japan itself. Now, there are several leaders who will be attending the state funeral. As Divya just pointed out, it's not just Prime Minister Modi, but even at the US level, the Vice President there, Kamala Harris, will be participating. Right. So, some amount of these state events that are held are also related to the geopolitical signaling in the current times. So, it is somewhat of a utilizing of a situation, unfortunately, though, in a funeral situation.
Maha, Shinzo Abe died on the morning of 8th of July. He was delivering a campaign speech in Nara, and that sent out shockwaves across the world. Now, what's really shocking now is that a man set himself on fire. About 10,000 protesters have marched through the streets demanding that funeral be called off.
So, in Japan, as I was pointing out, they believe that this one political party is using this assassination of Shinzo Abe to promote its own thought process and its party. That is the reason for these protests. Also, the cost is extremely high in the midst of a situation where Japan was also very badly hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember, in this current wave of Omicron, the number of infections in Japan per day were touching almost 2 lakhs. Also, the number of deaths were very high in Japan during this Omicron wave, which was elsewhere in the world believed to be a milder variation of the initial coronavirus. Under these circumstances, the kind of angst that the people are feeling over the cost of this. Also, the thought process that many would have that one political party might utilize it to further its own interests. That is the reason that some of these protests are being held at the moment. But as I've pointed out, we have seen, for instance, if I can just cite the example of the funeral that we saw of Queen Elizabeth II. Many of these events are also, in some sense, held as an exercise where leaders are coming together. A country is showing the kind of strength that it has, the geopolitical clout perhaps that it can put together. So many of these messages are sent out, and I think perhaps one of the reasons in this case is that at the moment as well. Apart from the fact that, yes, Shinzo Abe was the longest-serving Prime Minister, and even then many protesters believe that there is no precedent, and therefore even if he served as the longest-serving Prime Minister, should this funeral be held.
State funerals in Japan usually are reserved for the members of the imperial family, and it's only one time after World War II that they've had a state funeral dating back to 1967. So in 55 years, Gargi, the first time they're having a state funeral for a politician.
And there you can see that bilateral taking place with the Japanese Prime Minister. Thanks so much, Maha, for joining us with that. Moving on now to other news and news from Punjab.
Right, Gargi, single day Punjab Assembly session will be held today, during which issues related to stubble burning, goods and service tax as well as power supply, those are the matters that will be up for discussion.
Well, let's go across to Mohammad Ghazali now for more. And Ghazali, a day-long session also expected to be a fiery one with the opposition taking on the government. Also, we don't know about whether that confidence motion will be moved.
Yeah, certainly the Aam Aadmi Party or the government here in Punjab is unsure whether they will bring or move the trust motion today in the day-long session. What we are hearing is that the government may extend the session. It may not be just a day-long session. The government may extend the session for a couple of more days. But
right, Ghazali, go ahead. Tell us more about, so you're saying it could be extended?
yeah, so it is decided in the Business Advisory Committee. This is one committee where it's more like an all-party committee we see in Parliament. So a Business Advisory Committee decides which issues have to be taken up in the session, how long the session will go. So these things will come up, and this Business Advisory Committee meeting is held before the session commences on the day. So today, as the session has been convened at 11 a.m., so the Business Advisory Committee, which will have MLAs from BSP, from Akali Dal, from Congress and Aam Aadmi Party also, they will decide the contents of the meeting, or what needs to be taken up in the assembly session today, and how long the session will go. But what we are hearing is that the government may not bring the trust motion in favor of it for what they were criticized by the governor or earlier or opposition parties, but they will certainly try to discuss the alleged Operation Lotus, which they have been accusing BJP of orchestrating here in Punjab. So that is one thing where Aam Aadmi Party government will have an upper hand also, because they have majority in the House. But the opposition parties like Congress or the BJP or the Akali Dal will certainly try to corner the government over all of their pre-poll promises which have not been delivered yet. The issue of sacrilege, the issue of SYL canal issue, the dispute between Haryana and Punjab, and how Aam Aadmi Party is expanding its seat in Haryana, and whether it is a political compulsion or not. So the opposition will try to ask the government that if a session has been held today, why not bring resolutions on pro-Punjab issues rather than just talking about an issue which concerns two parties, or which involves two parties. So this is something on which the opposition will try to corner the government, while the government will try to talk about how BJP is accusing BJP of Operation Lotus and poaching the MLAs.
Right. Thank you so much, Ghazali, for joining us with those details. We will keep tracking that story and coming back to you for more on that. For now, we're slipping into a very short break.
A lot more coming up on the other side. Stay with us. Welcome back. International news now. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin met Dr. Jaishankar at the Pentagon 2 days after Jaishankar had delivered a speech at the United Nations maintaining India's neutral stance over the war in Ukraine.
Right, Gargi, while India has expressed concerns over Russia's war in Ukraine, the South Asian country, famously non-aligned during the Cold War, has maintained a neutral stance, refusing to abrogate business ties with Russia and join Western sanctions. India is a key US ally in the Indo-Pacific region, and that the Biden administration says that the US-India strategic partnership is based on shared values, including a commitment to democracy and upholding the rules based on international system.
Today we are positioning the U.S. and Indian militaries to operate and coordinate more closely together than ever. And we're taking sufficient steps, significant steps, to deepen our defense cooperation, from stronger information sharing and defense industrial ties to cooperation in emerging defense domains, including through the launch of a new dialogue later this year. And all this will help ensure that our militaries are ready for future challenges.
I do share with you that the global situation has become far more challenging this year for a variety of reasons. And the Indo-Pacific in particular, it's important that the stability, security and prosperity of the Indo-Pacific should be secured, and that is best done amongst others by cooperation between two countries like us.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Raut. Stay with us for all the news you need to know. And the latest we'll start with the latest on the Rajasthan Congress crisis.
Absolutely, Gargi. The big question is now being answered. Ashok Gehlot might not be now running in for the presidential post as far as the Congress party is concerned.
That's right. Sources have told NDTV that the Congress leadership is unhappy with the rebellion in Rajasthan and with Ashok Gehlot, and he is ruled out now as a contender for the post of president. It's irked by Gehlot's refusal to step down as Chief Minister, and the Congress High Command now looking at other options, even Kharge and Digvijay Singh among the names being discussed. This is after the embarrassment to the Congress party in Rajasthan. You've also had the situation in which those who are loyal to Ashok Gehlot are now hitting out at the central leadership, at the central leaders' representatives who were sent there to Jaipur, hitting out at Ajay Maken. Let's just listen in to what Mr. Dhariwal, Shanti Kumar Dhariwal, known to be an Ashok Gehlot loyalist, had to say about Ajay Maken.
सेक्रेटरी जनरल इंचार्ज पे मेरा चार्ज है कि वो पक्षपातपूर्ण तरीके से यहाँ के विधायकों से बात कर रहे थे, और उनको इन दिनों में कई दिनों से लगातार ये सूचनाएं आ रही थी कि वो सचिन पायलट साहब के पक्ष में जो है प्रचार करने के लिए जो है कहा करते थे.
Well, let's go across to our reporters, and Harsha joins us from Jaipur, and we have Arvind here in Delhi. And Arvind, first to you, what are you hearing about the Congress on this whole leadership issue, and now Ashok Gehlot ruled out?
Yeah, Gagi, that's what our sources are telling us, that it looks so that unlikely that Ashok Gehlot will be contesting for the Congress top post because he is refusing to resign as step down as Chief Minister of Rajasthan, and Congress party going by its rules that one man, one post. It's unlikely that Ashok Gehlot will be contesting for the Congress president post. And what we are also being told by our sources that Congress leadership was extremely unhappy with Ashok Gehlot for the rebellion that took place in Rajasthan 2 days back. In fact, according to our sources, the leadership is irked with Ashok Gehlot because when he met the Congress top leadership, Ashok Gehlot, in fact, he agreed to step down as the Chief Minister of Rajasthan before filing nominations, and that's where the Congress party is not happy, saying that in his meeting with the Congress leadership, he agreed to step down as the Chief Minister of Rajasthan. But what happened on Sunday is something that the Congress party is seeing as a gross indiscipline. Though Ashok Gehlot Gehlot is saying that he has nothing to do with this rebellion, but the Congress leadership is not taking it as a face value, because according to our sources, the observers have told the leadership that the entire rebellion was coordinated by 3 ministers who are staunch loyalists of Ashok Gehlot, and without Ashok Gehlot knowledge, this could not have happened. And they also made it very clear that this entire CLP meeting was convened after the consent of Ashok Gehlot. In fact, the venue and the timing was also confirmed by Ashok Gehlot, and only after Ashok Gehlot gave the time and the venue, the CLP meet was convened. And according to our sources, hardly there were around 22 to 25 MLAs alone were present at the residence of Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, and almost 90 odd MLAs were at the residence of Shanti Dhariwal. And that's why the party, this open rebellion, the party is calling it as gross indiscipline. And what we are also being told is that some actions are being mulled against the 3 coordinators who coordinated this entire rebellion. Coming to the main question regarding the contenders for the Congress top post, what we are being told is that with Ashok Gehlot virtually ruled out because he is not ready to step down as Rajasthan Chief Minister, the Congress party is now considering other options for the top post. And what we are being told is that some names like Mallikarjuna Kharge, who is the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha, and also former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Digvijay Singh are being seriously considered for the top post, because its time is running and the party has to confirm the names, finalize the names, because the last date to file the nomination is September 30th.
Right, we also have Harsha with us. Harsha, new names coming up with including Digvijay Singh and Mallikarjuna Kharge. What's happening in Jaipur? What's the movement? What's the latest development in Jaipur?
Well, to add to what Arvind was just saying, Ashok Gehlot may not be wanting to step down as Chief Minister, as Arvind said. We are given to understand that he'd agreed to do that, but he did not want to step down and make way for Sachin Pilot. That really is where the stumbling block came as far as the Rajasthan Congress was concerned, that they don't want to make way for somebody who in 2020 had actually gone against the party. And that seems to be the refrain which is coming out from the Gehlot camp. Now, as far as action is concerned, again, central observers, well, we spoke to Mr. Mahesh Joshi yesterday. We spoke to Shanti Dhariwal also, and Mahesh Joshi, who's the chief whip, said they are well within their rights to give us any kind of a notice, and we will give a well thought out reply. So it's not like the Rajasthan Congress is backing down that easily, though at the same time both Shanti Dhariwal and Mahesh Joshi did, refrain that ultimately whoever will be Chief Minister of Rajasthan, we will leave that to the Congress President. So that's as far as the standoff in Rajasthan is concerned. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot spent most of his day yesterday at the CMR and also took part in Navratri celebrations at his home. No comments from the Chief Minister so far, though of course he has been very, very keen through people like Shanti Dhariwal, Mahesh Joshi and Pratap Singh Khacharyawaz to distance himself from the rebellion. They have been reiterating again and again that Mr. Ashok Gehlot knew nothing about it, and he was actually on the India-Pak border at a temple where his mobile was out of range. So that's as far as Rajasthan Congress is concerned. Most MLAs have gone home to their constituencies for Navratra. So, and since the central observers are not here, there is no question of meeting one-to-one, though the MLAs are given to understand that they don't want to meet one-to-one, but they actually want to meet in small groups.
And what of Sachin Pilot?
Well, Sachin has decided not to go to Delhi. He's been at his residence. He's only meeting his, some MLAs did go in to meet him yesterday, but not meeting any press people. And, people like Mr. Berwa, who spoke to NDTV yesterday, they've said that, going into the next election, we want someone who will have a youthful face, who can lead the party into the next election, and Sachin Pilot is the best choice for that. As far as Sachin is concerned, measured silence from his end, but he has been meeting his, MLAs, and people from his camp definitely feel that, going into an election 2023, you have to fight anti-incumbency.
That's right. So, Arvind, a huge embarrassment for the Congress party. If you take a step back and look at the party, this was meant to be a time Rahul Gandhi is doing the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and the Congress is very proud that they're, finally having these elections, and they were boasting, over the BJP that at least we're having elections in our party to choose our next president, etc. But now it's become a whole mess, and you have, this whole rebellion of sorts, and Ashok Gehlot now seems to be out of the contention. Kamal Nath met with Sonia Gandhi yesterday and said that he doesn't doesn't want to run, and now other names being considered. So a big mess, and you have also leaders speaking out in the media, like Ajay Makan yesterday. He spoke about the gross indiscipline by the Congress MLAs in Rajasthan.
Yeah, Gargi, it's of course a huge embarrassment for the party when the party is preparing the Bharat Jodo Yatras in full-fledged in Kerala, where also the party is also preparing itself for the presidential elections, where the elections are expected to be held on October 17th. But the entire calculations went wrong. In fact, we did ask one of the top leader, what's the next plan, what's the next course of action. In fact, we got a response from this leader saying that whatever they planned, everything has gone awry. There is nothing more to plan, because whatever they planned, it has gone completely wrong. In fact, they wanted Ashok Gehlot to step down as Chief Minister, and then they wanted Ashok Gehlot to file his nominations on September 28th or 29th for the presidential election. They thought that everything will go smooth because according to them, when Ashok Gehlot met the Congress leadership, he did agree to resign as Chief Minister, and they did think that everything will go smooth, and that's why they called the CLP meeting on Sunday. But that's where everything changed. On Sunday, there was this huge rebellion, almost 90 odd MLAs refusing to attend the CLP meeting called by the Congress leadership, is something that has never taken place. There has been rebellion, there has been two camps in every state of Congress, but this is the first time that the almost 90 odd MLAs, the majority or the two-thirds of MLAs refusing to even come for the CLP meeting, is something that the Congress party, it's also new to the Congress party, and that's where it has taken back the leadership. So leadership is seeing this as a gross indiscipline, so that's where they went back to the drawing room, and that's where we are seeing some new names being considered for the top post, where Mallikarjuna Kharge and Digvijay Singh are also being considered as the probable candidates for the top post. And what we are being told is that a final decision will be taken by today or tomorrow, and then we can expect what will be the next course of action in the grand old party.
Well, Harsha, given that Ashok Gehlot was meant to file his nomination for the 17th of October elections today, now that that's not happening, will this crisis continue for days on end?
Well, it definitely looks like the standoff will continue. Whether the crisis will continue or not, I can't say. Because if, like Arvind is saying, if they do come up with another name, then ultimately Ashok Gehlot in that sense has got what he wants. He remains as Rajasthan Chief Minister. He was reluctant to go to Delhi despite, the protestations that no, I will do whatever the party wants. He was definitely reluctant to move from here. Like we were saying earlier, it's a losing wicket. And which seasoned politician wants to go and bat on a losing wicket? So clearly he will at the end of the day, perhaps in a very convoluted way, will get what he wants. And yes, the standoff will definitely continue at least till the 30th of October or till another candidate enters the race, and we know for sure that Ashok Gehlot is not going to run for Congress president.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Harsha and Arvind, for joining us there with the very latest, and we'll continue to come to you for more development. Now, from talk of the Congress president and this whole, race and the embarrassment for the Congress, now let's talk about the BJP president. And JP Nadda, who took charge of the BJP from Amit Shah in 2020, is likely to get an extension.
Right, Gargi, with less than 2 years to go for the next general election and a string of state elections before that, the extension is likely to last till the end of Lok Sabha elections due between April and May of 2024. Nadda's 3-year term is scheduled to end on the 20th of January 2023.
And we know him as someone who enjoys the confidence of the Prime Minister. Let's take a look at this report by Akhilesh.
Mr. Nadda, who has been very active since he assumed charge of the BJP president. He has been traveling across the country. He has been gearing up for the party for the upcoming Lok Sabha elections, and in between there are elections in 10 or more states. So party is of course gearing up for all those elections, and the BJP does not want to take any chances. The organizational elections are not yet begun in the party. Remember, as for the party's constitution, at least 50% states should have completed the organizational elections to begin the process of election of the party president, and that has not begun. So this is one of the main reasons why Mr. Nadda is likely to get an extension. And apart from that, he is a close confidant of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Mr. Modi approves his performance. He believes that in the past 2 years, when during the COVID pandemic, Mr. Nadda was able to convert the BJP organization into a Seva Sangathan, and he distributed more than 50 crore food packets, and that's why he has won heart of Mr. Modi also. And third point, of course, is that he suits in the BJP's social engineering formula, because now you have a tribal women president, you have a Jat OBC vice president, you have OBC prime minister, and of course you have a Brahmin president as the BJP president. So that's why BJP feels that Mr. Nadda should be given an extension. It's just a matter of time before an official announcement is made.
All right, news now from Uttar Pradesh, where violent protests broke out in Auraiya after the death of a 15-year-old scheduled caste boy. This was after he was allegedly assaulted with a rod by a teacher in school. The police say the Bhim army was involved in the protest and that miscreants even damaged police vehicles.
The 15-year-old class 10 student died 19 days after being allegedly beaten mercilessly by a school teacher who's from a so-called upper caste only because he couldn't spell one word. He spelled one word wrong during a class test, Gargi.
That's right, and Nikhit Dhore died on Saturday night when he was being taken to a specialized hospital in the state. In a complaint to the police, the boy's father claimed that Ashwini Singh, the teacher, assaulted his son with sticks, rods and also kicked him till he fell unconscious after he spelled that word wrong. NDTV's Alok reports.
Well, so this is quite a shocking case, and it has taken place in the Auraiya district, about 200 kilometers from Lucknow. Now, first of all, a little bit of background about the case. This boy, 15-year-old Nikhit Dhore, was allegedly assaulted by an upper caste teacher at a private school on the 7th of September. Now, this teacher was reportedly taking a social sciences test in class, and this boy appears to have misspelled a word or given a wrong answer, and that appears to have infuriated this teacher so much that he allegedly assaulted the child mercilessly and first beat him up, slapped him, kicked him, and then also used sticks and rods to assault him. Now, the father who has filed an FIR says that, this boy fell unconscious. The family went to the school and since then took him to various hospitals to try and get him treated. The boy died on the 24th, September 24th evening, when he was being rushed to a specialty hospital in Sefai, which is in the Etawah district, which is nearby. Now, the family is saying that the boy suffered internal injuries because of the vicious assault on him, and that the police are saying that a postmortem will determine what exactly happened. The teacher is absconding. The police are saying that they are trying to trace him and have formed 3 teams to arrest him. They filed an FIR based on the complaint of the father and included sections of the SC/ST Act in the FIR, because the father alleges that the teacher later stopped receiving their phone calls and also abused them, like I said, using casteist slurs. Now, the violence yesterday took place after the body was handed over to the family and they were taking it home. Now, the police in a statement have said that the Bhim army, a political formation, got involved, and they and the family put the body in front of the school on the road and started a protest. But the police also clarified that the Bhim army did not indulge in violence. They say that some miscreants took advantage of the situation and started pelting stones at the police and also set police vehicles on fire. The police are saying that the situation currently is normal in the area and that the last rites of the boy will happen soon.
Welcome back, and the big news coming in. There's a crackdown on a Popular Front of India in Karnataka, Assam and Delhi. Remember, this is in the continuing raids and crackdown that we've been seeing over several days now.
Right, Gargi, after 106 PFI leaders that had been taken into custody last week, and now we're seeing this huge crackdown again this week. Over 40 PFI members taken into custody in Karnataka. The local police in Karnataka has not just raided, in fact, these PFI leaders, their houses have also been raided, Gargi.
That's right. Well, let's go across to Shrija now for more. And Shrija, tell us give us the details, what is happening. And this is in continuation, with the raids that we saw earlier, as well as many of the leaders being taken into custody.
Well, just last week we went on to see where the NIA, ED and also the local police, they had carried out on raids, especially in the PFI leaders' houses, properties, and also had taken them into custody. Over 100 were held also, is what we're given to understand, and the raids were carried out in at least over 10 states here in the country. But now we see this is the second massive crackdown that we are looking at just about a week later, where we see after the NIA and ED conducted searches across 10 states. Now we are looking at here in Karnataka as well, where in over 5 to 6 districts where we are looking at, for example, in Mangaluru district, Koppal district, Ballari, Kolar, Mysuru, Vijayapura district. Now, these are some of the districts where we understand the PFI leaders' houses have been raided, searches have been conducted, and now we understand at least a little over 40 of them have been taken into custody. And also, this is the second major crackdown by the NIA and ED and the local police after last week's raid across the country. Now, according to the local police, they say that the PFI leaders were arrested for allegedly conspiring to radicalize Muslim youth and also training them using weapons. Now, the action taken by the police have been based on the intelligence inputs now provided by the NIA itself.
Right. Last week what we saw was the ED, the NIA and the state police in combination arresting over 100 PFI leaders, and this time around we are seeing more such arrests are taking place. We have Ratnadeep joining us on the phone line. Ratnadeep, PFI members arrested across Assam.
That's right. In fact, this morning in the second raid in Assam, remember last week there were raids in Assam by the Special Operation Unit of the Special Branch of Assam Police, and this morning there were raids in several districts of Lower Assam, particularly in 5 districts from where we have already confirmed reports of raids, and where what police sources are telling us as many as 21 PFI leaders and members, these are all district level leaders in different districts, they have been detained. So police is saying that they have been detained. They have not been shown arrested as of now, but that was the modus operandi even in the last week's raid. Remember last week when there was a countrywide raid in Assam, the raids were carried out by the state police and not by the NIA. And this time as well, in Assam, the raids have been carried out by the state police. However, there is a bit of difference in terms of, this morning's raid. Now, last week, the Special Operation Unit of Special Branch of Assam Police had registered a case, and all the raids that took place, particularly in Lower Assam, were conducted by the officers of the Special Operation Unit of the Special Branch. But this time, what police sources are telling us, in fact, we did speak to some of the top police officials before we went on air with this breaking news. They are saying that fresh cases have been registered in the districts where the raids have taken place. So, and with respect to those cases, each of the district police have detained these PFI leaders or members from different parts, including women as well. That's what we have been given to understand by state police sources. And the raids, in fact, continue as we speak. There have been visuals which have come in, particularly from Kamrup district, because most of the detention has taken place in Kamrup district. Kamrup district and the Gwalpara districts are 2 districts where PFI had a substantial influence. And apart from that, Darang, Baska, and even in districts like Dhubri, which borders Bangladesh, raids have taken place.
All right. Thanks so much, Ratnadeep, for joining us. With that, so more raids taking place on the PFI today in Assam, Karnataka and Delhi. And with that, time for us to slip into a short break.
Lots more coming up on the other side. Do stay tuned.